Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about helping your veterinary practice attract, engage, and retain clients. Broadcasting a new podcast every Monday from sunny Southern California, here's your host, Brandon Bashirs.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 164 of the Veterinary Marketing Podcast. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're going to be talking about offers. Offers are the way to generate clients in your practice. If you want to drive people into your practice for specific procedures or specific things that you just think that they need to be focusing on or doing, offers are what drives them in. And it's very important to create offers that are compelling because you're going to get better conversion rates. We're going to talk about all of those things, helping you to improve your offers, helping you to drive more specific segments of the business that you're looking to grow. So it's going to be a great episode. Before we begin, I want to mention a few things. First, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe in iTunes or Google Play. And if you could do me a massive favor, please leave me an honest review. I would really appreciate it. I would also like to mention that if you haven't done so already, be sure to head on over to Amazon and search Brandon Bashirs. You can find my digital marketing planner there. I've sold 500 of those digital marketing planners. So I'm going to definitely be doing a training just to celebrate that, which is really cool. And if you want to follow up with that training, see what it's all about, I'm going to be doing and mentioning that in my group, the Veterinary Marketing Nerds. So if you go to facebook.com/groups/the Veterinary Marketing Nerds, you can join the group there. All right, let's get into today's episode. Today we are talking about offers and why they're important. First, it's very crucial to understand that when your brand or your business makes an offer, essentially what you're doing is you're making a promise. And that promise is what the client gets. And if you think about this in terms of how to create offers or what is important to your clients, the way that you structure this is going to be, providing value and providing as much concise value as possible to drive a specific action. And that's like the super simplified way of talking about this. Obviously, it's more complicated than that. And a lot of times people overcomplicate things or they just aren't sure what to do or what to say. And so what you end up having is something that's really just kind of mashed together. And oftentimes, especially when you're talking about services at a veterinary practice, you're going to have just like a kind of an explosion of different things that are going on. So I'll give you an example. When you send out a newsletter, you send out some content, you're doing content creation, a lot of times people will just start talking about all kinds of different services or features of their service, and they forget to really talk about the benefits. It's always important to talk in terms of benefits because that's ultimately what the client gets. And that's what we're going to focus on here with the offer. So the first thing that you need to think about is with your offer that you're creating, you need to figure out what is the promise that you're going to be making that your clients are going to want. And essentially that's what an offer is. If you come in, you will get X, Y, and Z. It will provide X, Y, and Z benefits. And the more that you can think about the before and after, what that looks like for the pet owner, the more emotional that you can make that, and the more emotional benefit that you can give there, the more successful you're going to be. And so when I say emotional benefit, I will give you some examples here. So if you're talking about heartworm treatment, heartworm treatment prevents heartworm, and that's a straightforward benefit. But if you think about it in terms of emotional benefit to pet owners, you could talk about heartworm is very serious. If you ever see a case of heartworm, it's just devastating. We've had clients come in and they didn't do their preventative, and it could have been avoided by just this simple procedure. So if you provide it in terms of the fear of the potential for getting heartworm, also the convenience and the ease of preventing it, and also just conveying that it's not a big deal to come in to get it done, and then you're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel relieved because you're not going to have to worry about that anymore. That's very different than just saying, come and get your heartworm treatment. It's time you need to do it. So really understanding what it is, and that's just an example. Obviously, I'm there's tons of other examples that you could do, but creating a promise that is going to help convey very specific benefits that are emotional, that are going to help to alleviate emotional triggers or worries or fears and make people feel better, also help them, make sure that their pet is living a happy and healthy life, which is ultimately the dog owners and the pet owners that you want coming into your practice are going to be concerned about having their pet's health be a cornerstone of their pet's life. And so especially using wording like that is going to attract the right kind of people. So once you've made that promise as far as what it is that you're going to get, what's the offer entail, you need to have the terms. And so these are the specific things, right? So if you're doing a special, or if you have a special on medication, or if you have a special on the services that you're offering, whatever it is that you're doing, how people can come in and get it, and what's the cost associated with it. And figuring out what those terms are in simplest, most easy to convey way is very, very helpful. So this is, I think, a lot of times where people go wrong in their offers, when they'll be talking about terms as far as like, okay, we're going to run a special for this product, but we only want them to come in on Saturdays, and they can only come in between 11 and 2, and it's actually only the third Saturday of the month. And, adding all of these different conditions onto it makes it difficult. So as simple as it can be conveyed, the more simple that you have it, the better you're going to do. People love simplicity. People are more busy than ever. People are just don't have time to do different things. They don't have time to read things. They need to be told, and told quickly. So if you're offering a special 2 for 1, that's easy to understand. If you're offering a special during certain hours, if you come in during your lunch hour between 12 and 1, we have a special where we'll get you in and out ASAP type of a thing, right? If it's very easy to convey the value, the benefit, you're going to be much better at converting the different traffic segments that you have come into it. And so simplify the terms, don't make it difficult for people to take that. And that leads us to the next section here, which is the call to action. So once you tell somebody about the product or the service that you're going to be offering, and then you explain how they can get it, then you need to say, here is the way to get it. And I know that sounds like very similar to the how to get it, but the call to action is extremely important. And you need to have calls to action as many times as makes sense throughout your content, throughout your landing pages, throughout your emails, throughout your social posts. More calls to action is better. And the reason for that is some people need not very much information, right? They'll see a headline and they'll be like, oh, I need that. And they'll click to buy, or click to book, or click to call. And then the next group of people, they need a little bit more information. Well, that sounds cool. What's the catch, right? And there's the terms. Okay, that's great. They'll see what the terms are. Okay, that sounds great. They'll go and buy. And then some people need it even more information. We're going to talk about the additional things that you need to be posting inside of your offer, but spacing out your calls to action basically throughout each one of these different segments is a very important thing to do, because it gives these different kinds of people, which, different personalities need more research. Some people need less research. Some people are more busy. Some people are less busy. So they need these calls to action sprinkled throughout. Okay, so sprinkle them out every time you do a section that is, okay, here's the headline and subheadline, call to action. Then, the explanation of it, call to action. Then the reviews, calls to action. Then the value adds, calls to action. And then the bonus, call to action. And figuring out what's the easiest way for people to take action is important. It's extremely important. It helps you with your conversion. Each one of these little segments that we're talking about, you have to have as simple as possible, frictionless as possible to get people to take action. Okay? It needs to be very, very simple. So a click to call button, or a click to book online, send an email, reply to the email, comment on a post, send a message on Facebook, whatever makes sense in terms of the easiest way for people to get from point A to point B, point A being a visitor on your website or visitor on your social channel, to point B being a client or a customer. Make it simple, make it streamlined, and make it easy on them. Don't make them do work, and don't make them go to your website, find your phone number, and not have a mobile optimized phone number, and then they're going to have to write down your phone number, and then they're going to have to dial it in and do all of that. It's going to reduce your conversion, and that's no good. You want to have as much conversion as possible. So once you have those calls to action figured out, what's the easiest way to get people in? People need to know basically the who, what, where, when, why, and how of the offer. And what helps to figure out if they're going to take the offer or not is social proof. We are herd animals as human beings typically. And so, and especially as time goes on, we become more and more trained to look at reviews. When you go to buy things on Amazon, I want you to start noticing, how are you going about the purchase decision? You typically will look for like a Prime member deal, and then you'll see what the reviews are. Those are the kind of two things. Is it going to be free shipping? Is it going to be easy for me to buy? And then how does the product work? And that's what people want to know too. So don't make them say, okay, this looks good. I wonder how this vet is, though. I wonder how this practice is. Let me go do some research. If the research is there and you can check that box that they have in their mind, they're not going to need to go and see what your reviews are on other sites. So give them the highlight reel. Give them the great reviews that you have either on your Google business. Just screenshot those, place them on the landing pages, on the offer pages, in the content that you're doing. Let people understand that you are offering a great service, that you have other clients that love what you do, and that's very, very helpful. But give them that so that they don't have to think about it. Anytime you can kind of answer these questions without them having to ask, it's going to streamline the process, and it makes them feel at ease about making this emotional decision because they're now justifying it with logic. So that's really important. Now, along those lines, when you are really identifying the different pieces of things that you need to cover, right? We're justifying an emotional decision, typically because the emotional angles for marketing are the most compelling. We're justifying that with logic. So people need to see things laid out for them that, hey, this is important and emotionally. Here's why. You need to feel at ease about your heartworm treatments. You need to make sure that your pet doesn't have this, terrible, terrible issue. So feel at peace, get it done. Make sure that your pet lives happy and healthy. So here's how you do it, call to action. Then reviews. Here's what other clients have said. Stories, calls to reviews, great reviews. And then figure out exactly how to lay it out in terms of here's what you get and here's why the cost is what it is. And typically I like to do just, you get a full comprehensive examination worth $197. Now $147, and you get this, which is usually worth this price. And since you're getting it in a package deal, you get it for a total value of X for the savings of Y. And so then they're like, wow, what a great deal. This makes so much sense. Not only is it something that I need, my pet is going to be healthy and happy. I'm going to feel great. I'm going to feel like a great pet owner. I'm going to get great service, and I get a value. And then it's the famous, but wait, there's more. This is kind of the cherry on top. If you can, do a bonus of some kind. So what is some kind of a bonus that you could offer on top of it? And you make this just so easy to say yes to that you're going to get a lot more clients coming in the door. They're going to be happy about the service that they receive. They're going to have properly set expectations. And not only that, since you're talking about these emotional triggers that are the kind of triggers that pet owners who love their pets, not like the kind that just, keep their pet outside all the time, and the outside dog that they throw dog food out to once a day. It's the pets who are, sleep with them at nighttime because they're part of the family. The language that you use are going to attract these kind of people, and it's going to help bring value to your practice. You're going to love working with these kind of clients. They're going to feel like they're appreciated and that you're in it for them. So I think, stacking offers is what I like to call this, stacking the offer in a way that makes your clients feel like they're winning and makes it easy for them to say yes, makes it easy for them to move forward with you is really, really important. Figuring out what are the key pain points, what are the key issues that people are focusing on, and how can you really convey the value of what you do in terms of digital marketing so that they say yes, they want to work with you, and your practice grows. And ultimately, I think figuring this stuff out, I know that a lot of you are like, well, that sounds great. We're really busy, though. And so we're understaffed as it is. We don't need to create offers. I hear you. The problem with that kind of thinking is You don't need to create offers. You don't need to have these things tested and tried and true until it's too late. So you don't want to be in slow season all of a sudden. Something changes, the economy changes, the new practice competition opens up down the street or across the street or right next door. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, geez, we are not busy. We're in trouble. You don't want that to happen. So figuring this out is important because it lets you really take control of your destiny when it comes to staying open, driving clients into your practice, and those kind of things. So I hope that this makes sense. Listen, I know this can be complicated. I know it can be difficult. Be sure, if you have any questions whatsoever, head on over to the Facebook group. Ask your questions. Maybe post some of your ideas regarding offers and get some collaboration and things like that. So would love to hear what you think. Be sure to comment with any questions that you have, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.